The Boston Red Sox are going to be targeting Reid Detmers. Well, that's what one report says from Sports Illustrated, according to Colin Keane. We're going to be breaking down Reid Detmers' fit with the Red Sox, but first we're going to talk about the report, and then we're going to be talking about some other things relating to Detmers as well, such as should they do it. So without further ado, I'm Evan Sharrard. Thank you all for joining me for another episode of Red Sox Digest. We're breaking down everything trade deadline, trade rumors, Red Sox news. Make sure you subscribe so you can stay in tune with all of that, because the trade deadline is just 4 days away. You really don't want to miss it right now. So without further ado, let's get into the report, because there's a lot to break down here. So when we're talking about this report, we're going to be coming back in the smaller camera. Colin Keane wrote another one of these. The Red Sox have not been reported to actually be targeting him, but Colin Keane is basically saying, hey, the Red Sox should target this guy because he's receiving a lot of buzz from other teams as well. So let's get right into this article and break it all down for you. So we look at, so we got one emerging candidate the Red Sox should be targeting here because the Angels, this is an Angels pitcher. Who's the guy? It's Reid Detmers. He's 25, and he's had a down season so far. That's one thing to note. We're going to be talking about his stats in just a little bit, how he's played this year. So we'll come right back to that. And then Detmers, here's some of the information. Sorry, there's some construction going on outside if you just heard a big bang in the background. But we're talking about Reid Detmers and his accomplishments so far. So, okay, Keane has noted that, hey, he hasn't had the best season. But, hey, according to Dorsey here, this team, many teams are looking at him and realizing that, hey, this guy's pitched a no-hitter. He's thrown an immaculate inning in the big leagues. He's got the talent. He's got the stuff to be a really good pitcher at the major league level. So although he hasn't played well this year, and he didn't play as well as rookie year, his next two seasons, so 2023 and 2022, were pretty solid. And this guy's pretty young as well. So, hey, that's what this guy brings. That's pretty much what this report is saying. And at the end of the day, they claim that the Red Sox should be in on this guy, and that when everything's said and done, that, hey, Red Sox should be right in the market here with the Reid Detmers trade. And that's pretty much the article. So that's the report. Now let's talk about the fit that Reid Detmers would have here on the Boston Red Sox. So Detmers, like was mentioned in the report, is having a down year. He's got a 6.14 ERA. And as I usually like to say, anything over 4 in an ERA category is not very good. And anything over 4.5 means you're struggling. And anything over 5 is just bad. So 6 is a whole nother full point above that. 6.14 ERA. He's allowing, if he pitched 9 innings every game, he would allow 6 runs a game. That's not good on average. He also allows 3.9 walks per 9, which is not great. He doesn't strike out a ton of guys either, and he's only struck out 4 more batters than he's allowed hits. He's allowed 10 home runs, and that's something that has been an issue for him in the past. So let's come back here. There's the report. That's all great, but we need to take a look at some of his stats here, because Detmers has been he's just kind of struggled in the major leagues when he doesn't have his stuff on. Sorry, we might have to come back to this graphic here for his stats. So in his past couple of seasons, Detmers, even though it doesn't show it here, has been a guy where he doesn't strike out a lot of hitters. He's got a lot of great stuff. I shouldn't say he doesn't strike out a lot of hitters. When they hit him hard. And then he does have good stuff to strike out hitters, but he hasn't found it consistently. Especially we go back to this graphic one more time. Sorry for dragging you all around, but a 69 ERA plus is really bad, because the ERA plus, like I say in every video when we talk about it, 100 is average, major league average. Anything above is better than average by however many points, and whatever below is below average. So he is 31 points below average here with his ERA plus this season, and I know he's only pitched in 12 games, but 69 is just bad. It's just bad. And he's allowing 1.4 runners on per game with that whip up at 1.476, which is walks, hits, innings pitched, which basically is combining the walks and the hits that you allow per inning on a 9-inning basis, he's allowing 1.4 per inning. That's why I said that. Detmers is just not that good right now. And I think the best thing here is that he is young and that he can be under control for a while. But overall, I don't really know if I love the fit for Reid Detmers on the Red Sox, because we just got James Paxton, who's a veteran, and he's pitching better than Detmers. And I understand that and also, mind you, both these guys are lefties. So, not that that's a big deal, but having a mix of pitching arms is helpful. Now, if one of them were to come out of the bullpen, having a lefty would be huge because they're few and far between in the bullpen. But Detmers is going to be more expensive than Paxton is, because we just got Paxton. Probably didn't give up much for him because that report isn't quite out yet. And Detmers is drawing interest from other teams as well. And as I mentioned in my James Paxton video, if you're trading for a guy like Logan Webb, as we'll get into this outlook here in a second, you really don't, you know, you're going to be paying a lot for a guy who's young and has potential, even if he's not playing well, especially at the trade deadline when teams are needy for positions and willing to overpay. And that report said that, hey, there are a lot of teams interested, including the Astros, including some other contenders in there. So let's just take one more look at his stats. And so we can get a look at his age. He's barely 25, turned 25 just 18 days ago. And he's just really, really struggled. And with that being said, let's get into the outlook for what we're going to be expecting here with the Red Sox. Reid Detmers, if he's traded for with the Boston Red Sox, we're going to be getting a pitcher who has high upside, but he hasn't shown that he's able to be that level of player consistently yet. And that's kind of how it goes with guys who come in and don't, they're not like, oh, this guy's going to be a superstar right away, like Fernando Tatis Jr. and Ronald Acuna Jr. and even Rafael Devers showed that, hey, this kid's really, really good right off the bat. But Reid Detmers is not one of those guys. He struggled. And that's frankly more normal. And I think as pitchers, it's hard to grade pitchers, and especially in baseball, it's hard to grade players, especially when they're young. Once you have like 5 years of this guy is this player, you can start to get the idea of this is how he's going to play, and he might get a little better, but he's not going to get a lot better. But with someone like Reid Detmers, he could come in to a position with the Red Sox where he is joining Andrew Bailey and a pitching staff that is really excelling well past their expectations for this season. And if he does get guidance from Bailey that really helps him, this could be a huge move for the Red Sox, and it could be a steal, frankly, because Reid Detmers is not the most talked about name right now. See if I've got this in here, but Tyler Anderson was the guy that I was thinking the Red Sox would go after, who has a 2.91 ERA. He's been the best pitcher on the Angels this season. I talked about him in the James Paxton video because I didn't think Paxton would be enough. The Red Sox still need to do more at the deadline in terms of pitching, including the bullpen, but I mentioned Anderson as the Angels option, and frankly, I wouldn't be upset now if the Angels traded with the Red Sox and the Red Sox said, we want Detmers and Anderson, and then the Red Sox gave up a guy like, at that point, now you could be talking about giving up one of the top prospects again. I talked about it in the last video about a possible trade for Isaac Paredes, but you give up one of those big guys and you get a young pitcher and a guy that can help right now, that might be getting closer to worth it. But I still don't know, because that outlook is so uncertain with Reid Detmers. You're just not 100%. Now, prospects are never 100% either. Baseball, of all sports, is the sport where you draft a guy in the first round and you never know if he's going to turn out. The guy before Chris Bryant, I couldn't tell you his name right now because he never turned out in the major leagues. And Chris Bryant was like the prospect coming out crushed it with the Cubs and now plays with the Rockies after some injuries. He isn't the same player, but That's my point, is in baseball, those prospects are never really sold. And the only other player here that I think brings my point to a conclusion is I would prefer the Red Sox to go after a guy like Logan Webb, who is an ace and isn't playing as well as he has in the past, but is still playing well enough to fit into the rotation and possibly be the ace for years to come. This guy's under contract until 2029, and if you really want to give up a lot for a pitcher and you want to make a blockbuster move, instead of getting a guy like Reid Detmers, who could turn out, go get a guy who is already a great pitcher and is only 2 years older than Detmers, almost 3, but he's still in his 20s, and he's going to be for another 2 years following this one. That move just seems sounder to me, and the Red Sox are all about maintaining their core and building for the future as well as right now, which can be very tough to do because you're going to have to give up the future to get guys who are really good now and will still be good in the future. You can get an older guy for right now, and then you won't give up the future, but that's no way to build sustained success because you've got to do it every year. So all in all, I wouldn't mind a Reid Detmers move as long as the Red Sox don't give up too much, unless they also grab somebody like Tyler Anderson. I would prefer them to go and get a guy like Logan Webb or another veteran pitcher, maybe just go and get Tyler Anderson or just go and get Jameson Taillon on the Chicago Cubs. Taillon is also a little younger. He's not 25, but he's not 35 either, like Tyler Anderson is nearly. So those are my thoughts on the possibility that the Red Sox will trade for Reid Detmers and Tyler Anderson, hopefully. And with that being said, stay tuned for more Red Sox content coming your way. Surely this week we'll have more on the trade deadline. It's in just 4 days. Stay tuned. Thank you for watching. I'm Evan Sharrard, signing off once again.